This is the Four-Man Rush. Hello, Panther fans, and welcome back to the Four-Man Rush podcast. I'm your host, Timmy V.O., here with Kevin and Will again tonight. Where some of our fellows are on IR, so we're just going to take up the slack and give you guys what you need on Panther News, right? Right on. So, let's get down to it. Real quick about the topics we're going to cover tonight. First and foremost, and more importantly, Cam's throwing motion, how he's looking, and see somewhat of the growth in his throwing motion as well. Maybe this injury was a blessing. We'll see. Acquisition of Javian Elliott. Perry Ferrell's assessment on the secondary. Rivera's comments on the offensive line and the OTAs, and some of our insight on some other Panther-related topics. So, first and foremost, Cam's throwing motion. Now, I know, Will, you're going to put out something special for the fans in terms of a video content. So we'll come to you last. And Kevin, start us off, man. What did you see in Cam's throwing motion and his effectiveness, possibly?
Yeah, what I saw with Cam's throwing motion is I saw that Cam is throwing it in a much more compact motion. It seems to be where when the ball is being released, it's coming right from his, right by his head, by his shoulder. It gives a more of a release. Kind of reminds me of how Drew Brees throws the ball. Now, I'm not saying, let me clarify it, Cam's like Drew Brees. But in short, compact throwing motion is what really stood out the most to me. And definitely being able to see Cam use footwork, because all of his targets today were stationary. Nobody was running routes, anything like that. It's just to get that motion going and to be able to allow Cam to just get that shoulder back used to throwing a football again. So I really like the fact that for, what Ron Rivera says, the first step of many, 3 months away from week 1 against the Rams at home, hey, this was a long-awaited debut. This was the first time in public Cam Newton throwing a football to teammates since, week 15, the Monday night game, that heartbreaking loss to the Saints.
Yeah.
This was long overdue, and I'm not really a big mechanics guy, particularly when it comes to, quarterbacks and throwing motion. I was always blocking, making sure he had time to throw, but that, from my vantage point, that's the main thing that showed out a tighter, compact throwing motion from Cam Newton, and it seemed to have to put the ball on a nice spin, and seemed like the guys were catching it and a good start.
Outstanding. Oh, man, I'm excited. So, Will, what did you see?
Yeah, there's a couple things you want to look at with his throwing motion today. Don't think too much of it. He's still getting back into the groove of things after that recovering from shoulder surgery. But one, they're keeping the ball tight and compact, closer to his head. And he wants to generate power with his hips and lower body instead of, he's primarily been a power thrower, using his arm. But when you throw like that, you're putting a lot of strain on that shoulder. So this new throwing motion and using his hips and his lower body more and to generate power on his throws, that's going to help preserve his shoulder, hopefully, once we get deep into the season. But they made a good comment on NFL Network today. It's one thing to do it in practice now, but he's got to do it repetitiously so that it becomes a habit. Because, it's going to be week 10, fourth quarter, down by 3. He gets tired. That pass rush is getting to him. He's going to be able to maintain these mechanics under pressure, when he gets tired. Or is it going to fall apart and go back to his old habits? So, we just got to see. I think right now he's just getting into the groove and trying to establish good habits so this new throwing motion can become a permanent thing, and he'll be able to, have that memory down late in the season to maintain it.
Absolutely. Yeah, once you get that throwing motion and it's, effortless, because we all know how strong his lower body and his core has to be. He's a freak, right? So if he can just generate that power from his lower body and the torque in his torso and that flick of the wrist, man, he not only is he going to limit the the size of the pocket that he needs to operate, right? Because if you compact like that, you don't have to use all that room that you require your offensive line to try to produce, right? You stay compact, use your torso, use your lower body, flick of the wrist, and put that nice tight spiral on the ball, but that's all you need.
Yeah, and it was good that the fact that they had Cam thrown at different distances as well. The first throws were no more than like 2 or 3 yards. Then started throwing out to about 8 yards when he was throwing to, the running backs like McCaffrey, and then moved a little bit further out about 15 yards, and eventually got up to Cam throwing 25 yards. And from what the reports were showing, they looked all good. So it's good that, again, take it for what it's worth. First throws, coming back from, second major shoulder surgery, live with teammates. It's just laying the foundation, folks. We just gotta, build that arm back up to what it was pre-surgery when Cam Newton had one of the prettiest deep balls in the league, and got to be salivating as a fan thinking about what a healthy O-line and a healthy Cam can do with the weapons and the talent we got. But it's we just can't cheat the process though. So whatever plan that head trainer Ryan Vermillion and the staff have for Cam Newton, whatever pitch count they got him on, as fans, let's just be patient, because the only throws that gonna count the most are week 1 at home against the Rams. So whatever leads up to get armed just right until then, all for it.
Amen.
You got to keep in mind with throwing the stationary targets. All you're trying to do at this stage in the offseason is to have them develop good habits so it can become permanent. So this is just the first step in doing that.
Absolutely. So we got a couple new additions after the big McCoy pickup. Primarily in the Panthers secondary, I believe. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, that's right. Carolina Panthers, right after the signing of McCoy, a couple days later, picked up McCoy's teammate down in Tampa, cornerback Javian Elliott. He's primarily played slot, but he can play inside and outside. So again, that's where that value comes in with position flexibility. According to Pro Football Focus, he was Tampa Bay's best defensive back in coverage last year, actually slightly graded better than our own Dante Jackson. When I say slight, we're talking about Elliott was 68, and I think Jackson was like 67. So we're not talking about a huge range here. I mean, the top guy on the list in the division was Lattimore at 72, and then it was can't forget who was in Atlanta. I don't think was it Trufant. I'm not quite sure, but cared much about a Atlanta Buzzard anyway. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I dug into the numbers a little bit, and I looked at how many defensive snaps that Elliott took, and I noticed that he only took a third of the defensive snaps in Tampa last year. Like out of 1,050 defensive snaps, he took about 353. So we're talking about somebody that, for what snaps he got, he made them count. Now, does that mean his coverage is as good as Jackson's was last year? You know what? It remains to be seen. Could this just be a sample size? Could the lower amount of snaps kind of maybe inflate his grade? Because compared to, Jackson, Dante Jackson, who had 889, was it 8, if I'm not mistaken. Point being is, as much as it hurt, his only interception came against the Panthers last year when he baited Cam into throwing. So, the least he can do is, do that a few times for us instead of against us now. But yeah, he's definitely someone that is going to add more competition to that nickel cornerback spot. We've always said we want to take the most competitive 90-man roster there. Nickelback is the new starter in the NFL nowadays. So, with 3-4 guys that's going to be getting looked at that spot, I definitely think that he's going to feel like that he's definitely got a chance to come in and earn some reps and earn him a spot. So I like the move. I think it's going to be good for us. Now, whether he makes the team or not, it's going to be left up to him and Camp Walford and the preseason games. But he's definitely someone I think is going to help push the other guys that's battling for playing time during training camp and during the preseason.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this come to fruition, man. Yeah, I know, Will, that you had a nice little piece on Mr. Galden. How do you think that the new addition will help in coverage, especially with our current secondary?
Well, he can come in. He'll be an immediate competitor for that nickel spot. Right now, you got 3 guys competing for that spot, or you had 3 guys competing for that spot. It was Corn Elder, Ross Cockrell, and Kevon Seymour. So Elliott will add that competition at the nickel. Galden, he plays both safety, and he's also taking some snaps at nickel as well. So, it's so early in camp. It's just hard to see where all these pieces will fall into place. It's you love to see the competition, but we just got to see how it all plays out. I think Elliott, he had a pretty decent season in Tampa. I don't know if he's better than the guys we have already, Cockrell and Seymour. So that'll be a good thing to look out for, this summer. So, just right now, just be excited about these camp battles. Iron sharpens iron. Let's watch these guys compete and let the pieces fall where they may.
Absolutely. Speaking of the secondary, I think most of the Panther Nation knows about the addition of Coach Ferrell coming up from Jacksonville, a reputable coach, mind you. I didn't know that he actually got his, I believe, his undergrad at Lenoir-Rhyne University up in Hickory, close to my old stomping ground. So come back, somewhat of a home return from Coach, and he's given his piece on what he sees in the secondary and the players that he's coaching. What did he say about that, Kevin? How's he feeling about our secondary?
All right. Well, with Coach Ferrell, with his extensive, background and resume, and I'll let Will be the one to really go in there and fill that in. But, we're talking about somebody that for the last couple of years that had the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary as one of the more elite secondaries in the NFL, despite the Jaguars record. When you look at their pass defense, if I'm not mistaken, it was still top 10, if I'm not, maybe even top 5. But either way, with the talent that they had, obviously that helps. But, a lot can be said for what Perry Ferrell brings to the table. And what I also like is that what he said about our guys is, he loves himself some Eric Reed. He was the first guy that he mentioned. He was bringing up the fact that with Eric Reed, that, he listens, he works hard. He's someone that can place him anywhere and he can make plays. So he really seems to have a thing for not only the skill set, but the leadership of Eric Reed as well. Now, that was something that he definitely pointed out and mentioned, when he was giving his, first time assessment of the secondary. And then he started talking about James Bradbury, and he told him, he was up front. He was just like, he's a good player, but there's some things that we can do to make him a much better player. And these things have been well discussed by not only us here at the 4-Man Rush, but throughout, the Panther Nation as well and the different Panther groups online. Overall, it just seems that Coach Ferrell is excited about the talent that he has to work with here. And he was also mentioning like things such with Dante Jackson about, him staying focused throughout the game, because of the fact that he had some early success picking off, the ball at times, he wouldn't get thrown at and he'll lose sometime interest. And he just wants to make sure that he helps, make sure that that's not a constant issue with him in the 2019 season. So, and overall, I just like the fact that, we now have a certified position coach coaching our defensive backs. It's been a lot of turnover in the defensive coaching ranks for the Panthers over the last few years, but I really think that with the resume that Coach Ferrell is bringing, along with the talent that we already have, he's going to take some good guys and make them better. And I, for one, am very excited to look forward to it. Definitely want to see if he can bring back Thieves Avenue and make it 2.0.
With that front line, boy, it's going to get ugly, I hope. Man. Hey, Will, what's your take on Coach's take on the secondary?
Yeah, just as some background information, Perry Ferrell was the defensive backs coach on the 2005 Chicago Bears. So Ron Rivera was the defensive coordinator on that team. If you remember, they went 11-5 and went to the Super Bowl. Did they go to the Super Bowl in 2005?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, we beat them. That was when Steve Smith tore them up.
Oh, yeah.
That peanut team. 2005. Yeah, how could I forget that? Yeah,
it was the 2006 season they went to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was played in 2007, February of 2007 when they played the Bears in Miami.
Right. Yeah, but in 2005, right? 2005, though, Perry Ferrell was the defensive backs coach and Ron Rivera was the defensive coordinator for the Bears. Rivera's coached with them before. He's been with other teams like the Giants and, like we said, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think, he talked about the 4 starters in the secondary, about Golden, that he's a talented player, but he just lacks experience. And I think, when you watch him on film, that's consistent with what the coach said. You see his talent. He's got good football instincts, reading reactability. He's a good tackler. But it's just, his experience at playing free safety, he's got to get used to playing in space. So that's the thing with Golden and Bradbury. I think it's pretty clear what he is. He just got to develop those ball skills better. It's promising to see, Coach Ferrell saying that Bradbury's showing improved ball skills in helmet and shorts. So let's see if it translates to Sundays. With Dante, it's no denying his talent. It's just about being that consistent, dominant corner. I have high expectations for him. I want to see him in the Pro Bowl next year. And then, of course, Eric Reed, he's got a lot of good things to say about him as well. So, I think we'll see a much improved secondary this year, hopefully. Coaching can only do so much, but I think, maybe he can get light bulbs going off in these guys' heads to help them elevate their games to that next level. So, hopefully, secondary has been kind of a weakness for too long now. Hoping this is that year we can turn that around and change things.
Yeah, you hit on something, man. I haven't even thought about. Our secondary, collectively, has not been a force to reckon with in some time. The secondary in the 2015 season was kind of, I guess you can say, in the right place at the right time, because we didn't have a lot of speed in that secondary, but we had veteran savvy. But our pass rush and our linebackers was just a hell of a threat to deal with, and our secondary took advantage of it. But as far as being able to cover people, right, and have that safety that can come into the box and lay the boom on somebody, it has been a minute. I to be honest with you, I'm thinking back to the Gamble days. It's been a while since we had a secondary that's this stacked, potentially speaking, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Josh Norman had a good interview the other day on WFNZ. They asked him, how does this Panthers secondary compare to the 2015 secondary that was called Thieves Ave? Because I think they're trying to recreate that and carry that Thieves Ave tradition. And what Josh basically said was, we don't know because they're so inexperienced. But Dante's in his second year, Golden's first year starting, Bradbury, he's been in the league a few years, but he's still a young guy.
Yeah.
So, and then the corners, and Nickel's going to be a young guy if it's Kevon or Elliott. So, basically, Josh said the 2015 Thieves Ave, these were all veterans. They had that veteran savvy, knew where to be, read coverage, read route combinations, be in the right place at the right time, and make those game-changing plays. Whereas these guys are young. They might have more athleticism and higher ceiling players, but, they got a lot to learn. So,
they do.
Will we see a return on Thieves Ave? We'll see.
Fingers crossed, man. You have anything to add, Kevin?
Yeah, I just, want to add that I think that the secondary camp battles that's going to take place all around is going to be something, to watch. even though Rashawn Golden seems to be the incumbent to get his opportunity to play the other safety spot beside Reed, let's keep in mind that there's some other guys that's hungry and they're looking to secure the bag for themselves, and it's gonna really try to play their best to push him and to earn their opportunity. It's kind of funny when Trey Boston was on the radio show. He was throwing a little shade. In my opinion, he was saying something on the lines that the Panthers don't really have that veteran to push Golden, the way that they had back in 2015. When you listen to that interview, you can tell Boston really, really wants to come back here, but unless he's willing to take that 1 year, $3 million caliber deal that Clinton Ha Dix took, he can sit on the couch with Kelvin Benjamin. They can have some Bojangles and watch us for all I care.
Yeah.
Let the young guys play. We spent a third round on Golden, but I don't want, because we drafted him, to be the reason that he starts and gets significant playing time. But definitely, other guys like Quinn Blandon and what's the other guy? Is it Nakai Kua? I can't think of his name. Well, that's somebody you kind of picked up on. But yeah, there's some guys that's going to be pushing for playing time, at that safety spot that I really think is going to make, this whole secondary battle at cornerback, nickelback, and safety, very intriguing. So, and I can't wait. I know minicamp this week, and then we got the 6 weeks off before training camp. It's gonna be a little boring, but I'm gonna have fun looking up all these guys and seeing what they had to offer and potentially bring to the table, man. But yeah, camp is going to be some serious battles, and I for one looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And folks, if you're listening to this podcast, tell people about the 4-Man Rush, because Lord knows we don't do boring. So you're going to be entertained and you're going to be educated all at the same time. So when you get that lull, when you need that Panther keep pounding kind of energy to keep you fresh for the upcoming season, you know where to go. The 4-Man Rush. Just a little tag. Had to do it. All right, so we all know the OTAs are going on. I heard some good stuff from McCaffrey. Had an interview, and old McCoy, but the guy I'm always interested in, is Coach Rivera. Even though he doesn't necessarily give out all the details, if you understand how Rivera operates, you can kind of nitpick a little bit and kind of get some cues of what's to come, so to say. So, Will, what do you think Rivera was pointing to in terms of how he felt about the OTAs so far?
Yeah, just some things I was been reading about the offensive line. Taylor Moton and Trey Turner, they're emerging as the new leaders of the line, the vets that have been there a while. Greg Little, we got to be patient with his progress and development. Greg Van Roten, don't count him out. He's not ready to give up that starting left guard spot yet. I think everybody kind of assumed that, you're going to see Darrell Williams move inside and Greg Van Roten will just go back to being a backup in that rotational role. But, he said he worked this hard to become a starter. He achieved his goal last year and started all 16 games, played every snap, and now his next goal is to keep his starting position. So, there's still going to be some offensive line competition going on that we should all be excited about. So, we'll just see how this all plays out. I know, guys are moving around and getting reps at different positions. They tried Darrell at left tackle, moved him inside. I think Moton's going to be solidify that right tackle position. Trey, he's not going nowhere. And then, you got the depth at the center with Paradis and Larson. So we'll see how it plays out. I think the battle to watch there will be left guard. See if Greg Van Roten can hold on to that position or Darrell Williams comes back and returns to all-pro form after his surgery.
The storylines are intriguing, people. Yeah. Kevin, what do you hear about some OTA news?
Yeah, what I was hearing about, the OTAs from Rivera, and like you were saying, Rivera will give you the straightest face in the world and and sell you some cow crap, for to protect the secrecy of what's going on. But I like to take what he was saying as being true. One of the things he was pointing out was that, talking about Greg Little, the second round draft pick out of Ole Miss, who seems to be the incumbent at left tackle. He had a lot of positive things to say about him. He said he's looked very fluid out there. And, anyone that's played on offensive line know that, you have to be fluid like water. You have to be able to move because the type of, edge rushers coming at you are going to be all kinds of moves and leverage and just all kind of things. So I like the fact that he saw that, but he also pointed out the areas that Little can improve. He noted the fact that Little got away with a lot of things in college due to him being such a great athlete. But he said that's not gonna work in the NFL. So the fact that he's making it known publicly about Greg Little, and I'm sure that that's something that offensive line coach Masco and assistant offensive line coach Trevor Wharton, will be working on him continuously, throughout the summer and throughout training camp as well. But overall, the offensive line as a whole, Rivera was talking about the fact that, Matt Paradis and Darrell Williams are slated to, be at full go once training camp comes, and that's good. And I like the fact that there's just so much position flexibility being shown. 6th-round pick Dennis Daly, even though he played mostly left tackle in college, he was getting reps at right guard, when Trey Turner, I think he, sat out a day or two. And it's just good that, we have players that can play multiple positions because, as y'all well know, when it's game day, if you got 2 reserve offensive linemen that can pretty much cover any of the 5 spots, that could be huge. That can allow us to use another wide receiver or another running back or another defensive back. If we can get away with having just only 7 offensive linemen in a game instead of 8, that will go a long way to for us putting ourselves in position to add more firepower on the field, not only offensively but defensively as well. So, players are being moved around and trying different things. And it's kind of surprised, Hearns, we let go of Brandon Mahone, but, we kept Hearns, that that one kind of, puzzled me a little bit, but it's whatever,
It is what it is, my man. It is what it is. So, anything else you guys want to cover or update the fans about, or I know we have some things going on in the works behind the scenes that our fans are really going to be enjoying pretty soon.
Oh yeah, we definitely are behind the scenes. The construction of the 4-Man Rush website has begun. I was able to have a video conference with the website designers and developers this past Monday, and they was able to show me like the home page, and man, that thing just looks it looks so nice. Yeah. It's definitely going to be something that you fans will definitely be able to enjoy and have an easy time navigating and get to all the information that you want to get to. Mm-hmm. So that's in the works for you as well. Also, got some deals coming through the pipeline that we're going to check out different options for some 4-Man Rush apparel. That's right. We're looking at, putting that together. We're talking about hats, T-shirts, in the cold weather, hoodies, jogging pants. We want to make sure that, our fans can, have access and represent what it is that makes them tune into what I'm claiming is going to be the number 1 source for Panther News, the 4-Man Rush. Now, my plan was to go to minicamp tomorrow, but it's calling for a 90% chance of rain. I'll probably be out there Thursday there. Now, only the media is allowed inside to watch the practices, so I'll be able to see players and coaches before and after practice. But that's definitely something I'm going to take advantage of and, give our fans, up close footage and pictures of the players on the 2019 roster. So, yeah, 4-Man Rush definitely has a lot of things in the works going on. And I can tell you, loyal fans, is to stay tuned and keep riding with us.
It sounds encouraging, man. If you guys only knew how hard these fellows are working on this content and getting a platform for everybody to enjoy this information that we all love and enjoy, which is the Carolina Panthers. It's going to show through. It's going to show through. Will, you have anything to say?
Yeah, just keep checking in. See what's new. We got the YouTube series up and running. It's getting good feedback. I appreciate all the support on that. Right now they got something on DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel in the works, so be on the lookout for that probably in the next 2 weeks. Tried to take a little break, so I'll get started on that pretty soon. And then, just stay with us. It's off season. Football's 24/7 around our parts, so
yes, sir.
Stay tuned.
I'm sorry. I also wanted to mention real quick, one I left out. Please take a chance to go to our Facebook page and check out the great blog work done by our very own Norris Thornburg.
Norris.
He put out a wonderful piece about Hurney's journey. Pretty much, giving a little bit of background and coming full circle to how Martin Hurney's turned around. It is a great piece to read. I've read it 3 times myself, and I enjoyed it. I'll probably read it again tomorrow. But we definitely want you guys to check out. We have a great blog writer's ability in the 4-man rush, and we definitely want y'all to check that out as well. So it's called Hurney's Journey, and you can find it only on the 4-man rush, our Facebook page.
That's right, folks. The 4-man rush. Right. Just go to the Facebook, go to the search section, and type in the 4-man rush, and bam, I guarantee it will be the first thing to pop up. Norris has put out some great content, and he's actually kind of predicted a couple of things too that came to fruition. So it's interesting. You guys will really enjoy that read. That's for sure. So thanks for dropping in and listening to the 4-man rush podcast. I'm your host, Timmy VO, and on behalf of Kevin and Will and Larry and Monty, who aren't here tonight, that's all right. And the fellas behind the scenes, of course, Norris, Mr. Canardo, and everybody else that's affiliated and associated with the 4-man rush, we'd like to say thank you. Download, share, like, comment, but whatever you do, feel free to follow us along and give us your information, give us your insight and your input, and we'll shoot out the information on the good old podcast for you. Again, thanks for listening to the 4-man rush podcast, and we hope you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and as always, keep pounding. I'm just taking time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. Yeah. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners and we can go back. The 4-man rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The 4-man rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the 4-man rush exclusively. Thank you.